Who is Dr. Sam Ankrah? Who are you?
Dr. Sam Ankrah is just a humble young man who has been in the finance and economics business for a while. I worked as an investment banker and basically raising capital for corporations and for governments. I've also graduated from there as working on economic policies and advice to our country and basically advising corporations. So not to bore you with so many detailed stuff or being going outboard, in summary, this is who Sam Ankrah is in economic and finance business.
Okay. So economics and finance, and that's interesting because those are some of the areas where Ghana is hemorrhaging. And there's so much talk about the economy and the status of our finances. You've spoken about your experience in all of these fields. I'd like to find out from you, why do you want to become president of Ghana?
Very good question. And I suppose a lot of people have asked this question, why would you want to leave your lifestyle? Why would you want to get yourself into the frail of this?
In other words, why do you want to leave the peace? And
exactly.
Get into, as we say here, not violence, violence, because it comes with a lot of, that. Why do you want to forfeit your peace?
It's on different folds. Number one is a passion for people. They're just real passion and desire for people to uplift social mobility from where they are in their lifestyle and circumstances is what drives me. But more importantly, I also think the middle class, people, the skilled aspect of our community have failed this country because we've stayed in the fence and allowed certain things to go on, which I believe we could have gotten involved to help because of exactly what you just said, the violence and the aggressiveness of the nature of the political arena that we find ourselves in. But it gets to a point, or it gets to a time where somebody has to leave for something. A generation has to fight for the next generation. And I believe that is done on me at the stage to offer myself, put myself on the altar of sacrifice to make sure things are done properly so that we can create a path, we can create prosperity for all, and also leave a good legacy for the generations behind us.
You talk about putting yourself on the altar of sacrifice. As far as this Fourth Republican experience has been, I believe as a student of politics, among others, it is clearly the people who end up sacrificing for leaders all the time and not the other way around. You would see in other jurisdictions that leaders actually do sacrifice. Of course, they get the perks, they get certain benefits of leadership, but in the end, they are the ones who sacrifice their time. You would see that often. Look at Obama when he came to power, and within a short while, all his hair had gone gray. These people are not joking. There's a lot of work to be done. So you say you're putting yourself on the altar of sacrifice. That has not been the tale of the tape in our country, and I shudder to believe whether you would be able to change that.
Ben, honestly speaking, that is a narrative that we want to change. Politics has to benefit people. We're sick and tired of leaders taking advantage of the people, getting into government to prosper themselves and their immediate family at the expense of the entire nation. We're sick and tired of a system where people loyalty are to political parties instead of a nation as a whole. So these are the basic things that are moving people like me to get involved into politics. I'm not a politician. In fact, I hated politics. But as I said to you earlier, I sit back, I have the passion for people, I have the know-how given the opportunity, so I don't see the reason why we can't get into the frail and help make the right things done. So, like you rightly said, those are the critical issues that needs to be changed. Being in leadership is service to a nation. It's not lording or ruling. It's service. You're serving the people. So it's a kind of service that we want to make sure that we bring back into our system where our political systems and governance structures work well for the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian and not just a little few that gets the opportunity to run the country.
I see. And how are you going to implement such an agenda? It's good to speak about it. It's definitely laudable to talk about changing leadership, providing service leadership. You actually remind me of the Greek city-states and their philosophy of if pun not intended, a philosopher king. In other words, a king, ruler, but who is also a philosopher, has depth of mind, is intellectual, okay? But in this instance, I ask you, it takes more than just one person. We have had leaders, even the likes of former President John Evans Atta Mills, that some felt was, morally speaking, probably the best we've had in quite a while, if for nothing, in this Fourth Republic. The people that surround such a leader are the crucial cogs that will determine how the wheel or where it rolls. So I'll put that question back to you again. Is this a one-man agenda? How can you execute this, especially considering, and I'll get to the bit about fielding parliamentary candidates. I don't know whether you're fielding any, but when there are talks about independent candidates, I often ask, should you get the nod, how will you govern this country?
Right. I mean, it starts from the point, first of all, let us diffuse the mindset where we think it cannot be done.
No, it's not about it cannot be done. It's about how will it be done.
It will be done, and it can be done, and we need to have that confidence. That is a hope I'm bringing to my fellow Ghanaians, that there's a possibility and a way an independent candidate can run this country. Yes, we're going to field independent candidates across. However, worst case scenario, if we don't get the numbers that we're looking for, the Constitution is very clear. It says that you have to, it appoint ministers from Parliament. It didn't say you have to appoint your ministers. So we're going to use NDC, MPP, CPP, every party representative in Parliament to run this country. The motion is that we're building a country devoid of political colors and symbols. We want to use right Ghanaians with the right skills to develop and build this nation. The systems that we have become dysfunctional. It's broken. It requires some sort of skills to break it down and rebuild. Let me give you a scenario. It's like you have a house with a dysfunction where you know the house within a certain period is going to break down. It's going to break down and collapse. Would you want to keep putting cosmetic stuff there just to keep it going? Or you want to break it down totally and rebuild again? It's that kind of rebuild that we are calling for Ghana. We've realized that if we continue going where we are going now, it will get to a point where we will not even have a country. So I am making a clarion call to Ghanaians. I'm making a clarion call to all right-thinking Ghanaians that, look, the systems and structures that we have at this point would not take us to where we want to be as a nation. It requires breaking it down and putting in structures that will stand the test of time and for generations to come. It's the systems that will help us to build prosperity and not to build a little cabal for people that gets into governance. So it's a comprehensive exercise we are calling to do, and it doesn't require one person. We have a solid team. People under normal circumstances who wouldn't want to be even in politics are looking to say, if this opportunity is created, they are happy to throw their hats in the ring and support us to build this nation. This is what we require as a country, where all our experts, all our resources are put on the frail to help build a nation for all to benefit.